Okay, so welcome back. This is video number 5 and the first hack. And like I said in the intro, if you really think about the process of when somebody arrives at your website, what they think, and the process of that is the next thing after they land on your website is, all right, so now I see an article about a certain topic. Let's say that topic is all about cars, like how to fix cars. Maybe it's specifically about how to fix a battery or replace a battery. So if they come to your site and they get the content that they need, and you got all sorts of content on battery replacement, but it's all scattered about, then what's going to happen is they're going to look for that content, but if they can't find it, they're going to leave. So the goal here is to present them with the content that they're looking for. So if they're looking at the how to replace a battery, you could have other related posts like how to clean the parts in your car that hold the battery and all of that. So what you need to do here is to use certain plugins that will allow you to show related posts. There are other things like auto suggestions. So if they do a search on your website and they're able to see, okay, there are more than one piece of content on this specific topic, that's great. I'm going to stay longer. All right. So you see what I mean? That is how you can get them to stay longer. And once they go through your content, then of course you can go to the next step. All right. So let's talk about plugins that you can use. Now, before we discuss what plugins you should use in terms of setting up the related post functionality, you want to make sure that whenever you choose a plugin, to bear in mind that you should choose one that actually does not slow your site down. A lot of people make this mistake of installing tons of WordPress plugins, and then some of them will actually slow your WordPress site down. In fact, you might test it out. You could test it out and disable some plugins, and you'll find that it'll actually speed up your website. So these three that we're about to recommend actually don't drag your whole site down. The first one is called Jetpack, and this is actually created by Automatic, which is the parent company of WordPress. So what's nice about Jetpack and Automatic is they constantly come out with updates. So you don't have to worry, is this plugin updated or not? And that's something that you have to be aware of, because some plugins that you install now will stop working or will have open security holes, or the company just stops. And because of that, they don't keep up to date with the new WordPress updates. So Jetpack is a great plugin. It doesn't just do related posts, it does a lot more than just that. In fact, as you can see here, it speeds up your website, it protects you from brute force attacks, you can back up your entire site. So not only does it do the related posts, but it also does a lot more than that. The next plugin is called Related Posts for WordPress. And if you simply go to Google and you type in this, Related Posts for WordPress, and you're looking for this with a cat, you could also go to wordpress.org/plugins/related-post-for-WP. But the easiest way, simply just go to Google and do that. All right. Now, this is focused on purely related posts. So like Jetpack, it has all these other features, but you may not need that, right? And the more features that you have, the slower your site. So you have to bear in mind that choose a plugin that only solves a very specific thing. All right. So this one's really good. The next one is called Similar Posts. And to get here, you can go to wordpress.org/plugins/similar-posts. So the URL is a lot easier to get to, or you can simply Google this similar post, the WordPress plugin, and you'll get this. Now, the nice thing is this plugin is very much updated a lot, which is a good sign, and it also specializes in related posts. So it really comes down to what your needs are. We can't really say which one's better out of these three, but if you only want to do related posts, then I would stick with this one or this one. But if you wanted to do related posts and you wanted to do all these other features as well, go with Jetpack. All right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, another way of doing this is utilizing the auto suggestions feature. The way this works is somebody types in the search box on your website and then they see a drop down menu. So if you enter something and you have like 10 different posts that are related to that tag, then you can show it all there. And this is really good for somebody who doesn't really want to take time. They just want to search and see if you have it or not. The one that we recommend in terms of WordPress plugins is called Ajax Search Lite. You can go to wordpress.org/plugins/ajax-search-lite. Okay, so now you understand how to show related posts, images, and other media to the person so that they are interested in what you have to offer. You're gaining their trust because they're staying on your website longer. How can we get them to go from the content all the way down to the comments section and interact with you? And that's what we're going to talk about in video number 6, which is hack number 2. Okay, so the first WordPress plugin that we recommend is called Replyable. That's REPLYABLE.com. Now, the reason why we recommend this is because if you've ever used the default section of the WordPress comment section, you'll realize that it's not as user-friendly. And here's what I mean by that. If you leave a comment, you're never going to know if somebody replied to that comment unless you come back to that page later on. But if you come back to that page, as you can imagine, that's kind of frustrating of an experience. Well, what's nice about Replyable is this. You can actually subscribe to people's comments. So if you make a comment, you can subscribe. So whenever somebody responds to your comment, you'll be notified. And that is why we recommend Replyable, because it increases that engagement factor. Plus, on top of that, when you create a comment and you get somebody to respond to your comment, you can actually respond to that WordPress blog via your email. So instead of having to go back to the WordPress site, you can actually do all of that via your email. So in other words, it solves that problem in terms of getting people to come back and engaging with you. So that's the first plugin that we recommend in terms of comments. The second one that we recommend is called Disqus Comment System. That is DISQUS Comment System. The best way, honestly, to get here is to simply go to google.com, type this in with the WordPress plugin keyword next to it, or WP plugin, and you'll find this page. Now, Disqus is actually commonly used, and it's a lot more dynamic. The way it's different from other WordPress plugins is that it allows your visitors to come and comment, but they can also sign in via other social media sites like Facebook and other logins. So instead of having to create, a username and password in your WordPress system, they can simply use one of their other social media accounts. Now, on top of that, it looks really beautiful in terms of the setup of the comment side, and it also supports what we call threaded comments. So as you can imagine, somebody makes a comment, somebody replies to them, and then somebody replies to that second person. So you can't really do this with the default settings of WordPress. So if you respond to, let's say, the third person, there's going to create a little bit of interaction between those two people, right? And then somebody might come along and then respond to that third thread. So what this does is it creates more interaction, more engagement, and all that. So that's why we recommend these two WordPress plugins. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 7, which is hack number 3. All right, so in the previous video, we talked about how to get them to engage with you via the comments and get more comments. Now, from that point, you've got them hooked and they really like your website, but you want to get them to continue to interact with your site. So by this point, they are what we call warm traffic. They know what you have to offer. They've consumed some of your content and they like you. All right. So at this point, how do you get them further interacting with your site? Maybe how can you get them to give you feedback on how to improve? And not just that, or what things that they like, or what do they want to see in your site in terms of content and other things like that. So in this particular video, we're going to cover that, such as polls, such as forums, and all of these little aspects will help you not only engage with them, but it'll also help you get feedback from them, which is a gold mine. You know, once you start getting suggestions and all that, you can sort of get an idea of the customer itself and how you can better serve them. The better you can serve them, the more you can create products and services surrounding that feedback, and you'll start being able to sell to them. And that's where the money is. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So before we talk about different plugins that we recommend, I want to say that it's a good idea to have a plan of action, meaning have an idea of what you want to do. Do you want polls for people to interact? Do you want forums? What kind of forums do you want? What do you want the forums to do? Do you want surveys? What do you want to get out of the survey? Or is it going to be a quiz? What kind of fun quizzes can you offer your visitors in pertaining to the content that you're offering? And based on that information, then and only then can you and should you really go out and buy a WordPress plugin. Now, in terms of forums, there are several out there. The one that we recommend is gravityforums.com, simply because they have a lot of features beyond just gathering data. As you can see here, you have like conditional logic, so you could do quizzes with this too. Now, one thing I want to say is the pricing isn't as bad in the beginning if you have one site, but if you scroll down, so I want to be transparent here, most of them and all of them usually integrate into some sort of autoresponder or email system, which is great. But if you want to take it to the next level, see, you can connect it to Dropbox, you can connect it to PayPal and all that. But on Gravity Forums, in order to get to the next level, it's about $159 because the basic plan does not contain any of that. And if you want to connect to other payment processors, it's about $259 just to do this. All right. And you might not even have to do any of this. If you don't have to do any of this, just stick with the basic plan. But I also wanted to offer you another additional WordPress plugin that is highly recommended, which is WP Forums. So that's WPForums.com. And they offer a ton of features. All right. If you go to their pricing, and don't look particularly at the domain licenses yet, just look at the features. So for about $199, it's a lot cheaper, right? So instead of $259, it's $199 to get the full payment integration. But like I said, most of you are not going to need that. That's why I say make sure to plan ahead of time first and then go get the plugins. A lot of people make the mistake of getting the plugins and thinking, oh, this is cool, or this is neat, let's add this. But what ends up happening is you will get overwhelmed and you'll start adding all of these features that you may not really need. So think of the plan, think of the strategy first, and then go get the WordPress plugin. All right. So that is in terms of forms. Now, if you want to create polls or ratings or anything else, then we recommend a plugin that is actually created by Automatic, which is the parent company of WordPress. So it's a pretty much guaranteed that this will stay up to date. But it's called CrowdSignal Poll and Ratings. And you can easily get here by going to wordpress.org/plugins/polldaddy right here. And that's a really good one. Now, if you want to take it further and you want to do like quizzes and you just want one plugin that does everything, then this one here, which is called Opinion Stage. And if you simply go to this URL here, you can pause the video and enter that in, or just go to Opinion Stage, just type in Opinion Stage, WordPress plugin, and you should get this. Now, this plugin is really cool because it integrates polls, surveys, forums, and quizzes all together. So like I said, if you feel like your site's slowing down, you can install this one plugin and that's it. You can cover all of your bases all at one time. All right, so hopefully that gives you different options that you can go towards. Make sure you, like I said, plan ahead, choose the plugins that are right for you, and you should be good to go. All right, so in the next video, we're going to talk about how to build your list. So after you have gotten all this engagement, how do you get them on to your email marketing list? Hello, and welcome to video number 8. Now let's take up all the information that we have taught you about engagement. And now the step is, okay, so they really like you and they want to know more about you. So in this step, you're going to learn how to get them from engaged visitors to turn into subscribers. And that way you can get them on your email list and build a relationship with them. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Now, before we talk about WordPress plugins and what you should use, I would highly recommend you figure out what email autoresponder system you're going to use. Now, if you already have an email autoresponder system, great. The most popular ones are getresponse.com, and then we have aweber.com, and we have convertkit.com. Now, there are many others, but these are the ones that we highly recommend. So once you figured out what email autoresponder service that you use, then you can look into WordPress plugins, because bear in mind that not all WordPress plugins integrate into certain autoresponder systems. So once you found a compatible one, then it's good to go. Now, in terms of how you can get them onto your email list, if you followed through the video course, up until now, your audience has engaged with you long enough to the point that they will want to know you more. So what you could do is a number of things. You could either offer a lead magnet in exchange for their email address, which is the most common thing to do, or you can create quizzes. Now, we briefly talked about quizzes in the previous video, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. The reason why quizzes work so well is because, especially if you create like a personality quiz or a really fun quiz, or if you go on Facebook, for example, and I'm sure you've seen these types of quizzes, but if you go on Facebook, you may have seen things like find out who you are kind of thing. So if you can think of something related to that, where you can create something fun on your site, that's actually a really good way to get people to interact and sign up on your email list. So if you do that, there's a plugin that we actually recommend, It's called Interact, and you have to go to tryinteract.com. It says you can make quizzes to generate leads for your business. What's nice is you can create these picture quizzes. All right. So one thing that we found over the years and tested was that quizzes, generally you want to stick with image quizzes because a lot of people are visually stimulated out there. But at the same time, you could use like textual quizzes if you want to, but you want to make it fun, and fun usually points to visual. So this is why we recommend Interact. They have a lot of other features inside of it. But if you go to Interact's integrations and you scroll down, you can see that it's already integrated with ConvertKit. Entreport's good as well. ActiveCampaign's good. And if we scroll down, we can see Aweber and GetResponse. And they're integrated with a ton of other email marketing systems and analytics, Facebook ads, and more. All right. So you want to see that. If you go to a WordPress plugin, you find out that it doesn't integrate into your email autoresponder system, you wouldn't know that if you didn't know what email autoresponder that you use. So for those of you who already know what it is, great. If for those of you who don't know, you just need to pick one. Now, in my opinion, ConvertKit is actually really, really good because if we were to look at all three of these, I wouldn't go with Aweber. Aweber is okay, but I would go with ConvertKit because you can do a lot more with ConvertKit. You can integrate it with a lot of other third-party systems. You can do a lot of automation. You can have rules, tags, and a lot more. And it's actually very easy to set up with ConvertKit. All right. Now, if you do use Interact, you're going to need to have the WordPress plugin, which is free. If you go to wordpress.org/plugins/interact-quiz-embed, you'll find the Interact Quiz WordPress plugin. So you'll need to install this, and then what will happen is you'll need to connect it to your account here, and then you can create the quizzes and then populate it and put it on your WordPress site. All right. So like I said, you can choose any other quiz builders, but that's what we recommend is to get them from fun to email list. Now you could offer a lead magnet, like I said earlier. If you do that, you'll want to use something like a lead page generator. In this case, we would recommend something like ClickFunnels. And this here is ClickFunnels. It's clickfunnels.com. And we like ClickFunnels because it's super easy to create opt-in pages and integrate it into your WordPress site. And it also integrates into a lot of email autoresponder systems like the ones that I just showed you. So this is a tool that you can use. You don't have to, but that's an option if you use a lead magnet, which is a freebie. So it could be a free report, free video, free audio, or something intangible or a media form that you can give someone.